as new and pretty ugly details emerge about why Fox
This
News
would have been
got
such a
rid
good
of its
week for
highest-rated
H3H3
primetime
leftovers
star. The New York
too.
Times reports the breaking point came after Fox executives discovered startling,
So much
highly
media
offensive,
shit.
and crude private text messages from Carlson on the eve of the Dominion trial. Not long after that report dropped, Tucker Carlson posted this video on Twitter. He did not mention Fox News by name.
When honest people say what's true, calmly and without embarrassment, they become powerful. At the same time, the liars who've been trying to silence them shrink, and they become weaker. That's the iron law of the universe. True things prevail.
No mention there of that new reporting from the New York Times. That report says that the text messages that were discovered by Fox executives were even worse, apparently, than those that were revealed leading up to the trial, the ones we saw in public. Apparently, there was one.
Speaking of like charisma suck, Tucker Carlson's speech was kind of mid. Like going back home to your private studio in your cuck shed and just like talking about how you were fired for the truth when you can't really like say anything about it because you have a fat ass fucking NDA. Very cool. Very cool. Very fun. Very nice. Okay. His power level's too low without his riders? Yeah, I don't know. Newsmax, the niche conservative news channel, has seized on Tucker Carlson's shock dismissal and declared itself the true home for right-wing Americans. Viewership remains far below that Fox News, but its audience at certain hours has doubled. Yeah, except ultimately, again, the main factor to consider here is that double of like 10 is 20, okay? So what the fuck is this article? You know what I mean? What the fuck are you trying to say here? Like, it's so stupid. I don't know what Newsmax's ratings are, but let's see. Let's see if we can fucking see what Newsmax's ratings are from the article. Maybe they'll show it. Newsmax, the niche conservative news channel that has long played David the Fox News' Goliath, has seized on Tucker Carlson's shock dismissal from its rival network. So far, the strategy is showing some promise. Viewership in Newsmax is far below Fox News, but its audience has doubled. On Monday evening, Eric Bolling's 8 p.m. Newsmax program drew 531,000 viewers. Brother, that means I clear Newsmax. Like, I clear Newsmax on my fucking Twitch stream. Okay? Like, that's insane. This is not, you would never write an article like this about like XQC and his like Minecraft adventures for 17 fucking hours, almost doubling Newsmax's like viewership numbers. What if they mean concurrent? No, ratings are not concurrent. Ratings are unique viewership over the course of 1 hour off of like Nielsen TV data. We talked about this. How? Not sure how Twitch numbers work when you have 30K concurrent. If you have 30K concurrent, okay? If you have 30K concurrent, you have around 300 to 400,000 on like a Nielsen rating. Okay? Over the course of 1 hour. This is an estimate. It's not accurate. You have more accurate numbers on a Twitch stream, obviously, because you can see your unique viewership. Every time we have the ratings conversation, people lose their fucking minds a little bit. But like 30,000 people are not, it's not the same 30,000 people watching in the beginning of the hour versus at the end of the hour. And news program ratings factor that into consideration. Every time we have a discussion on ratings, this is what it turns into. That's why when you look at like a VOD, for example, the vaudeville show unique viewership over the course of the entire fucking the entire day. And XQC's VOD from yesterday already has 1.9 million views, and it's slated to fucking grow. So XQC's like 1 hour unique viewership numbers are like not close to primetime television, because Fox News' viewership is like what, 2 million, 3 million on primetime. I get that, but 10x for unique still seems like a lot. No. His audience grew to 562,000 viewers, equal to about 80% of Anderson Cooper's CNN viewership. That evening, Newsmax and other primetime shows also experienced big jumps. The sharp rise in viewership can be timed almost to the minute of Fox News' announcement on Monday. I know that there are a lot of people that are, in the TV side and the ad side that can speak on this a little bit further, but this is literally what I did when I was at the Young Turks. There is no like good metric to perfectly calculate or perfectly translate Nielsen TV ratings to impressions or viewership numbers, unique viewership numbers that you look at. On the internet, but like on days where I have 40K concurrent, I'm probably clearing this as far as unique viewership over across an hour, especially if you look at my peak. But 146,000 is like nothing. Anyway, the sharp rise in viewership can be timed almost to the minute of Fox News' announcement on Monday that it was parting ways with Mr. Carlson, in part because private messages sent by the anchor that included offensive and crude remarks. Executives at Newsmax quickly seized on an opportunity. Yeah, like when you did the election coverage, if I remember correctly, you had more viewers on like mainstream media platforms like CNBC streams. Yeah, I mean, that's like a tiny, minuscule percentage of their numbers overall. Like, I don't think I had more viewership than like CNBC or NBC on television at the time, because there was a lot of eyeballs. I do not get better ratings than CNN. No, I obviously Twitch as a platform still cannot get better ratings for one singular Twitch viewer than, primetime television and shit. But yes, I did have more viewership than like all of the legacy media's like internet, all of the legacy media's like internet content providers. Anyway, that still doesn't matter. Yeah, I had a significant more viewership than CNN Plus, for example, especially like paywall shit. But that doesn't really matter. Starting on Monday, Newsmax programming is aggressively pushing narrative that Mr. Carlson's dismissal was a capitulation to the left by Fox News and the Murdoch family. One pundit mused on air that Lachlan Murdoch, the executive chairman of Fox Corporation, was much more liberal than his father, Rupert. Andrew Napolitano, a Newsmax pundit who was fired by Fox News in 2021 over a harassment allegation. By the way, Newsmax is awesome because they literally are just like waiting outside like fucking ambulance chasers, hoping that like someone will be fired for, I don't know, raping like a staffer or some shit, so they can like pick them up immediately. Like that's like Newsmax's business strategy. It's like, oh man, it's great. Like let's please, we would love to have you harass our staffers. Like here, we have a fresh crop of staffers for you to sexually harass. It's great. Please come here instead. Opportunity. They said that Fox News dismissing its top-rated anchor is like the 1927 Yankees firing Babe Ruth for his table manners. I don't get it. That's a great an incredibly relevant reference because every one of Newsmax's viewers are literally fucking up there with, what is this? They were alive when that shit happened. This is election day viewership stats. Not even big enough to clear Crowder. Yeah, I couldn't get louder with Crowder. This is 2020, not 2022. Remember, I'm one person, guys. These are fucking actual news outlets. I'm one person. Even Steven Crowder has an entire fucking team. So is Crowder. No, Steven Crowder got a Steven Crowder turned down a $50 million contract from Daily Wire. He employs like an entire staff. What the fuck are you guys talking about? He has an entire cast. You did have guests on during election night? Yeah, dude. Having Austin Show tune in on Discord is the same as like having producers, camera people, light tech, audio people, like on staff, people that flip cameras and shit like that. What are you saying? It's like literally looking behind me and going, what do you mean you don't have staffers? You have Kaya behind you and she's sleeping. Come on now. Yeah, I have I do elect child labor. Anyway. But we're going to get to the Steven Crowder video in a little bit. Anchors and guests harped on a recent appearance by Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a New York Democrat, in which she called for Mr. Carlson's firing. AOC speaks, and now Fox listens, grumbled the Newsmax anchor Chris Salcedo. These really are the end times. By Thursday morning, the network is inviting viewers to vote in a poll. Is it right for Fox News to fire Tucker Carlson? Yeah, they're just like, they're trying to beef that up as much as possible. Like they're trying to capitalize on their main competitor losing their, major anchor in a very public fashion. It's perfectly understandable that they're doing that. That viewership will fizzle out inevitably. That's how it works. So overall, Newsmax ratings remains a ratings minnow. On Tuesday evening, Hannity on Fox News drew 2.1 million viewers. The Ingram angle attracted 1.6. Fox News has pointed to Nielsen data showing that in the first 3 months of the year, it was the highest rated network across all of cable television. And the network has bounced back from losing stars like Bill O'Reilly and Glenn Beck. But the absence of Mr. Carlson as its biggest primetime star has been felt. On Tuesday, Fox News lost to both CNN and MSNBC in the 8 p.m. hour among adults ages 25 to 54, an exceedingly rare defeat for the network and the key demographic. I wonder what their 25 to 54 demo numbers are, because I do, not 25 to 54, but like the 18 to 35 demo, I clear all of these fucking channels. Let's be real. Newsmax. So people giggles. Yeah, this is definitely the real Newsmax channel. You guys are so dumb. Anyway. Even young conservatives don't watch cable news. I mean, young conservatives don't watch, you know, they don't just watch. They don't even watch online conservatives. Let's be real. The Fox and Friends co-host Brian Kilmeade sitting in for Mr. Carlson fell short of Mr. Cooper on CNN and Chris Hayes on MSNBC in that coveted demographic. Well, because he is literally named Brian Kilmeade after what people keep saying over and over again when they're watching him, because it's like chalk to a fucking, it's like nails to a chalkboard. It is just like unwatchable. Okay. Newsmax is surging shortly after Fox News paid $787.5 million. Young conservatives watch you. Yeah, they do. Settled a defamation lawsuit. They were deeply concerned by Newsmax's growth after the 2020 election. They openly talked about that. Newsmax saw a burst in viewership, even recording higher ratings of the Fox News anchor Martha McCallum. One evening in December 2020, Miss McCallum was switched to a different time slot not long afterward, but its audience eventually shrank, and despite Mr. Trump's complaints, Fox News continued as the undisputed ratings king of cable news, powered in part by Mr. Carlson's increasingly provocative program. So would Mr. Ruddy consider hiring the now former Fox anchor for Newsmax? We would definitely be open to having a conversation with him. You don't have that kind of juice. Mr. Carlson might follow the likes of Joe Rogan and pursue an independent podcast. He's one of the most influential and significant voices in conservative media, and he shouldn't be ignored. Now, here's one thing that people don't understand. If you look at someone like Bill O'Reilly, who was a lot older than Tucker Carlson and therefore had like less opportunity to build his own media empire, especially online, Bill O'Reilly, after numerous sexual harassment allegations at the heat of the Me Too movement, was fired from Fox News, also in an unceremonious fashion. But his media career fell off. It fell off dramatically. He basically fucking, he functionally died. No one knows about Bill O'Reilly. No one cares about it. And he was a fucking media giant. So the conversation here is this. Is it the Fox News platform that is the moneymaker, that is the kingmaker? Or is it actually the talent that makes the platform what it is? And I think it's a bit of both. I do think that it's a bit of both. It's that Fox News offers you a massive, massive platform that already has the eyeballs built into it in the primetime slot. And I think that's the major component there. And when you get to that coveted time slot, you're getting a major viewership boost, right? You are. Whereas you cannot create that kind of viewership on your own. You will never be able to reach that on your own. Tucker Carlson, however, is very good at what he does. And when you put someone like Brian Kilmeade in his place, he's never going to reach the same ratings numbers. So Fox News is certainly going to suffer from losing out on their major talent. And when I say, of course, that he's very good at what he does, I am literally...
They don't care what you think. They want to control your mind. They want you to do what you're told. They want...
I'm literally, of course, referencing... I am, of course, talking about Tucker Carlson's racism, his white nationalism. That's what he's very good at. He's the best at that. Okay? But all that aside, let's take a look at what the CNN speculation is while I go pee.
One message that was so particularly offensive, it added to the concern at the top of the company, caused a crisis in the days before they thought they were going to trial. We don't yet know what that message was, but the Wall Street Journal did report yesterday that Carlson had called a senior Fox News executive the C word. Of course, the same obscene word he used to describe Sidney Powell, that's the Trump-connected attorney and election conspiracy theorist who was a regular guest on other shows on Fox News. Here's how one of Carlson's former producers, who we should note is now suing the network, describes the culture of that show behind the scenes.
Women were objectified. It was a game. It was a sport. Female politicians who came on the show were mocked. There were debates about who they'd rather sleep with. C word all the time.
For more on all of this, let's bring in CNN's media analyst and Axios media reporter, Sarah Fisher, CNN's anchor, senior political analyst, John Avalon, and CNN political analyst, Natasha Alford. Thank you all for being here this morning. I mean, this is the front page of the New York Times today, saying Carlson's text ignited a crisis for Fox chiefs right before they thought they were going to trial. What struck me was, though, the attorneys had these messages for months. Why did the executives not see them until the eve of that trial?
Well, it could be in part because they're redacted. Well, the executives should be seeing them regardless, but the fact that they're redacted means that they're not going to come into public view. I think another crisis is you don't know when things are going to become unredacted either in the future. And so if you're leading into this trial, you see this stuff that's coming out, you're surprised by it by management, but then you're also worried that from a reputational perspective, if and when this ever does become public, you then have to deal with that crisis at a certain point. And that's where it becomes a huge risk.
And it might become public because John, the New York Times, Associated Press, NPR have all challenged these redactions. So
yeah,
it may come out.
And maybe this was a move to kind of get ahead of that, but it kind of boggles your mind that it was these text messages that was the sort of straw that broke the camel's back. After all the things that Tucker Carlson had done and said, rewriting history around January 6th, promoting the great replacement theory, that these must be really awful. And they must also go to the heart of
Don't you
something.
think, I mean,
Seems to me like Kaya Pete, huh?
Fox didn't bear a cost for all of that. In fact, it gained them viewership on Tucker's show. The cost they bore was $787.5 million in the settlement, you know? So they finally had to pay.
They finally had to pay, and there's outstanding suits as well. And maybe they thought that firing Tucker would be a sign, send a signal culturally inside the organization. But, you know, there are other on-air personalities who were promoting election lies a lot more loudly and consistently than Tucker.
Chat, shut the fuck up, okay? Please stop backseat fucking puppy parenting. Like, you're being incredibly annoying. You're gonna lose the Kaya cam if you keep doing this. How many times do I gotta fucking tell you? Okay? You are so fucking insufferable sometimes. Most embarrassing chat on Twitch. Yeah, like, please. How does she already look bigger? I think she's just, it's because I zoom in. That's why she looks bigger. The chat was just like freaking out and being like, give her treats immediately and going crazy.
For Carlson. And they still have jobs right there, over there right now. Maria Bartiromo in particular and Judge Jeanine Pirro. So we'll see. They're outstanding cases. But the fact that whatever was in these text messages was apparently what made the Murdochs finally decide to flip the switch, that's stunning. We're not hearing less of that.
Just to quickly jump in on that, though, if what's in this text messages is alleging sort of misogynistic language behavior, and you're facing a lawsuit from a former producer about creating an environment, a retaliatory environment.
There is 0% chance, man. There is 0% chance. No shot. No fucking shot did they like clap him because there's an ongoing lawsuit that Fox News said is riddled with lies, and they will defend against these, you know, unmeritorious claims, right? While simultaneously firing Tucker Carlson for said unmeritorious claims. Like, that doesn't make sense. Then you lost your case. No. Y'all are crazy. Understand. Why the fuck would they, on the one hand, say that they're going to defend themselves tooth and nail against like the workplace culture at Fox News, which very 100% very clearly was exactly the way that producer claims it was. Duh, no shit, especially because we know what their output looks like. And if you watch 10 minutes of Fox News, you kind of get the vibe that like, I'm sure they're saying the exact same shit behind closed doors too, right? I think it's a combination of all of the things, especially paired up with like Rupert Murdoch's now former fiance loving Tucker Carlson, and Tucker Carlson getting too big for his britches and actually being ideologically racist and not just weaponizing racism as wedge to allow capital owners to continue doing whatever the fuck they want to shift the attention away. That was what Tucker Carlson's major issue was. Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, all of these people they're ball players. Okay? They will say whatever needs to be said. They still say a whole litany of racist things. They still have the same insane racist guests on. But Tucker Carlson went a little bit further than that. Those people were company men and company women. Tucker Carlson, on the other hand, I think was, genuine in a lot of his white nationalist rhetoric, in his ideological position. And I think that came across as like a bit of a liability for Fox News, especially because he had editorial control, as is the company culture at Fox News, and was saying a bunch of stuff that was like, critical of companies, corporations. Critical of corporations critical of capitalism, because it allowed for, diversity to seep into American consciousness. And Fox News doesn't give a shit about diversity. They're just using racism as a way to like shift your attention away as a working class individual from, who's actually fucking you every day, corporations and the mega wealthy. They only use that as a weapon. If you put the cart in front of the horse, okay, and you start, riding racism as its own thing and start actually shitting on corporations for it, you run into the Ron DeStinky problem. Ron DeStinky miscalculated. It was a triangulation issue for him, where he started attacking a mega corporation that was profoundly important for his own state as the governor because of the culture war wedge issues that he was supposed to use as a way to allow further deregulation to happen for those corporations, whether it be Disney or whether it be Jiffy Lube or whoever the fuck, right? Bro, that foot's got to be yummy. I noticed that XQC gets a lot of viewership and he eats his toenails, so I decided to bring on a toenail eater myself, hoping that I can capture the toenail eating watcher market. I hope it's successful in captivating the juicers. She also pisses herself and, she will slam the fart. Slam the fucking poopy sometimes. She goes goblin mode pretty regularly.
Of misogynistic behavior, that's when it becomes ultimately very problematic, because it's not just a culture and reputational issue, it could be a legally implicating issue.
But what's your sense of this? Because, we have seen Fox fire really prominent hosts before who had really good ratings. Bill O'Reilly, we saw what happened with Glenn Beck as well. With Tucker now leaving, it's too soon to really know and make an honest assessment, but the ratings have been down in that hour quite an amount. And Newsmax, which is a rival to them, saw 5 times a jump in their ratings.
Yeah, and you can't really serve two masters, right? You have to make a decision about what the culture of an organization is going to be. And it starts at leadership. We've seen leadership over at Fox News sort of abuse their power. Roger Ailes, that situation. But also it's the small things, it's the little things. And I think Abby Grossberg, when you look at some of the details of what she is accusing, it's a culture that's rife with misogyny from top to bottom. So I think it's going to be bigger than one person's.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah. We watched Tucker Carlson already. We watched his speech yesterday. He just was basically doing the fired for truth shit.